In this video, we'll take a look at how to create a nested trigger inside Caspio. A nested trigger is when one triggered action causes another trigger to run automatically in a related table. This creates a chain of automated processes where data updates, inserts, or deletes in one table can trigger actions in another. Nested triggers are valuable for automating multi-step workflows and keeping related records synchronized across tables. With that said, let's see how we can create a single nested trigger inside our account. So to demonstrate one level of nested triggers, I have two tables created. For my use case, we have a table of contacts and we have a history log table. And what I want to happen is every time I add a contact or make a change to my contact, at the same time, I want to insert those changes inside the history log table. Now for the history log table, we need to create a second trigger that's going to automatically send an email each time new data is added inside the history log table. And that is considered one level of nested triggers because it happens automatically from table A to table B, and then table B performs a certain action. So for my contacts table, I already have the trigger created to push data to my history log table. Let's review it together. As you can see, run the action on insert and update data event and insert into history log table, which means every time you insert or update something inside the contacts table, at the same time, we are adding that information in the history log table, and then you simply map out your fields from the contact table to the history log table so that the proper data goes into proper fields inside the history log table. That is still not considered one level of nested trigger. What needs to happen is in that second table of history log, I want to send an email automatically as soon as the data goes into the history log table. So let's go back out to our tables, click on more and triggered actions, click on create triggered actions, and then run the action on insert of data, right? Because we are pushing data from table A, which is the contacts table, into table B, which is the history log table. And as soon as the data comes into this table, I would like to send an email automatically. This will be considered one level of nested triggers because both tables are communicating, but the second table performs an action based on what happened from the first table. Now what you could do is you can include a static email if you wish to send these changes to somebody at the company. If you had a user table, you can click on the gear icon, click on join to join with the user table so that inside the to field, you can pull somebody else's email that's already inside the table, maybe a manager, maybe a CEO or somebody else. If you wish to create two levels of nested triggers, you would need to have a third table. And what you could do is if I remove all of this, let's just say, and let's say based on insert of data, you want to maybe insert or update something inside a third table. You would select that third table from here, and now inside that third table, you have another trigger that's performing an action. So that will be considered two levels of nested triggers. So for example, data goes from contacts to your history log table, from history log table to your third table. That is still considered one level of nested triggers, but now if the third table performs an action, now you have two levels of nested triggers. That concludes our video on nested triggers inside Caspio. I hope that it was useful. To learn more about nested triggers and how many are available on each account, please visit our knowledge base at howto.caspio.com or reach out to our team to learn more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.